Pompous grandiose of pop-induced boyish blow of the chart-crushing giga-hits is what the Killers are so widely known for. But the noisy parties of mid-2000s with the inevitable Mr. Brightside and Somebody Told Me are long over. Moving forward on their path into maturity, the Killers discover their major artistic force in their Vegas milieu. Not stopping at that, they opened a new layer of nostalgic sentimentalism on the course of a second decade of the 21st century, which led to a production of Battleborn, Wonderful Wonderful, and Imploding the Mirage. But despite the occasional occurrence of some bittersweet melancholia, they never truly show their dark side. Before now. Amid the COVID-19 pandemic, the Killers pulled off their brand new album, Imploding the Mirage, with the prospect of a big tour as soon as the venues would reopen. But the dream of a post-lockdown world did just that, imploded. Humanity's Decameronian moment was there to stay for a little while longer. Brandon Flowers, the Killers' vocalist, realized that the time had come for the idea that was lying on the shelf, waiting. That's how the Killers' most peculiar album to date was born. Pressure Machine exchanges the usual of the Killers' thunderous stadium sound for soothing intimate acoustic tunes of heartland rock, folk, and country. Brandon Flowers brings us to visit the town of his childhood, Nephi, Utah. Nephi, Utah is a town easy to miss out, considering a small population of 6,000 people at best. This tiny southwestern rural town is lost in a job valley, south to Salt Lake City, and east to the Nevada desert. Its close Mormon community keeps their stories to themselves, but Brandon Flowers brings them to life as a first witness. There was some trepidation at first, cause it's such a small town and you wonder how that's going to resonate with people all around the world. And it's such a specific place in the Southwest. But then I couldn't escape it. The whole concept album is arranged in a manner of a novel, inspired by John Steinbeck's Patches of Heaven story cycle. Pressure Machine is divided into stories, told through the eyes of different townsfolk. Every story is a different piece of a puzzle that completes the whole idea of growing up in a blue-collar religious community. The Killers managed to put a little interview piece before most tracks, told by the real Nephi townspeople, which wraps the whole concept with realism.
Alright, well, I'm 26, so I've lived here for 26 years. I married my high school sweetheart.
When you're a kid, you get new experiences all the time. So when something shocking or tragic happens, it really resonates. Those experiences are the things I was gravitating towards. One of the central stories the album is built around is a tragic story of a couple that was hit by the train.
Oh no, the train, every 2 or 3 years the train kills somebody. Every 2 or 3 years, yep. Everybody knows about the train.
I was surprised to find 25 years later how much I was still affected by it. I felt like it was the end of an innocence for me and for the town, because afterwards I noticed things started to happen. It was almost like opening this door of darkness. That darkness brought the wave of the opioid epidemic that struck the town real hard.
And they got me for possession. obsession with them hillbilly heroin pills.
But despite those depressive facts of reality, the quiet town continues with its life.
In this quiet town, salt of the land, hard-working people, if you're in trouble, they'll lend you a hand.
The next piece brings in the story of a gay teenager that is about to take his own life due to the fear of being cast out by the fundamentalist Christian community he lives in.
Round here we all take up our cross and hang on his holy name. But the cards that I was dealt will get you thrown out of the game. I'm in my bedroom on the verge of a terrible thing.
I think the world is moving in a more positive direction and a more inclusive direction, but this was still in the 90s, and people kept this stuff close. He compares himself to the bull that is being slaughtered during the rodeo. His sacrifice is being accepted by God. The only thing that he longs for at that moment is the memories of him being at Salt Creek when he was a child.
I close my eyes, think of the water out at the Salt Creek when I was young.
If you have or would ever have thoughts of harming yourself in any way, or know someone who has, please contact your local prevention line. This stuff is serious. The next chapter is Cody, a desolate and unruly teenager, Pearl Jam's Jeremy sort of type. If Jeremy wouldn't have any up as he had.
Cody says he didn't start the fire. His parents know he probably did. He's always playing with the light. He's just a different kind of kid.
These snaps, along with many others, stroke by stroke, create this tapestry, picturing the life of the rural town, with its struggles and its small victories. Personally, I can relate to it, being raised in somewhat similar condition, in a small town in the middle of nowhere, although I believe that the album totally succeeds in becoming more than just a local storybook, but expanding itself to a universal story of the human condition and being approachable to a wider audience. Another album that succeeds gracefully on the same task, and without a doubt a great influence on Pressure Machine, is Bruce Springsteen's Nebraska. Both share the same melancholic vibes of struggling blue-collar communities, and they live their experience raw and true. The more pleasant to see the two of them making a new version of Dawson Fairy Tale from the 2008 day and age. Despite that it never made it in the final album, it totally feels like it kickstarted the conversation for Brandon. But one thing highlights that Bruce and Brandon came from different walks of life. The much more present role of religion in the narrative. It's no surprise that it's a cornerstone of the life of the Mormon town. It's something that keeps the wheels of the mechanism rolling. American dream intertwined with religious fundamentalism creates a perfect pressure machine that obliges people to toil and provide.
The kingdom of God, it's a pressure machine. Every step gotta keep it clean.
But despite all the traumas radiating from his past, Brandon Flowers shows that even there it's not all black. He shares the beauty of witnessing hope, persevering against all odds, like grass through concrete.
We had spring in our heels, unwavering forces, head first into the unknown. like runaway horses.
Runaway Horses conveys the story of two school dates from a long time ago. Seeing that their ways had separated, the narrator moved to the big city, while the small-town girl had stayed. She found her family and her small happiness in the background of the beautiful Utah Creeks.
You traded school for wedding rings and rent. Small town girl, put your dreams on ice, never thinking twice. Some you'll surely forget, some that you never will.
It's up for the listener to decide if this story is about dreams unfulfilled or about redefining those very dreams. Because there's no one way to live a life, and a small life in a God's place, amid the awe-inspiring Utah nature sights, has its charm.
There was a promise in our stride, but we changed courses. First into the unknown, like runaway horses.
Runaway Horses is one of the main emotional counterweights that provide balance to this tear-jerking Americana. Pressure Machine might not be, in any sense, an impeccable masterpiece, but it's a true and authentic work that dares Pendant Flowers to take an honest look at the roots that's always there. In spite of all the blues, this almanac of wounding experiences is sprinkled with aspirations just in the right amount. And that provides the therapy needed, and the ever-present nostalgia for childhood and big dreams flawlessly makes you empathetic, even if that is not your story. If you feel like you need more hope and resilient vibes, you're welcome to watch my previous video. No matter what the first impression might be, it's about these very things. Also, check out my debut or a pilot video, whatever you call it. It's about Major Tom, a cryptic and complex personage from David Bowie's pantheon. And as always, like and subscribe. Let's get this new channel growing. My name's Thomas, and I'll see you in the next video on Little Silver Discs. Till next time.